Good evening and welcome to Freedom is a Constant Struggle with your host, Kilu Nyasha, and engineer, Arnell Valle. I'm very happy to be back on San Francisco Live, SF Live. You've been viewing reruns for several months, and I'm very pleased to be back. Tomorrow is the 4th of July, and I'm going to share with you some excerpts before I introduce my guests from The Meaning of July 4th for the Negro, a speech rendered by Frederick Douglass in 1852. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him, more than all other days in the year, the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States at this very hour. Go where you may, search where you will, roam through all the monarchies and despotisms of the old world, travel through South America, search out every abuse, and when you have found the last, lay your facts by the side of the everyday practices of this nation, and you will say with me that for revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns without a rival. Allow me to say in conclusion, notwithstanding the dark picture I have this day presented of the state of the nation, I do not despair of this country. There are forces in operation which most inevitably work the downfall of slavery. So while I won't celebrate independence we never got, I will be celebrating the birthday of my goddaughter, my assistant, my right arm, who was born on July 4th, Najada Handikich. The San Francisco Eight are a group of black community activists and former Panthers who devoted their lives to serving the people and making a difference. Their fathers, grandfathers, and even great-grandfathers. In January 2007, they were arrested and charged with a conspiracy alleged to have occurred between 1968 and 1973, and the cold case of the murder of a San Francisco police officer on August 29, 1971. Originally held under $5 million bail, 6 defendants had their bails reduced and got out, including my guests here today. The original defendants are Harold Taylor, 60, of Panama City, Florida; Henry Hank Jones, 74, of Altadena, California; Francisco Torres, 60, of Queens, New York; Herman Bell, 61, originally from Mississippi; Jaleel Muntakim, also known as Anthony Bottom, 57, of San Francisco; Richard O'Neill, 60, of San Francisco, who has already had all the charges dropped; and my 2 guests, Richard Brown, 66, who has worked for decades as a community activist right here in San Francisco Fillmore District, employed for 20 years as a program coordinator at the Ella Hill Hutch Community Center. He's also a founding member of the African American Police Community Relations Board and several other neighborhood organizations; and Ray Boudreaux, 64, I believe, a Vietnam veteran who resides in Altadena, California, was employed for the past 25 years or more as an electrician for the County of Los Angeles and did community work until his arrest, often using his experiences to be an effective peacemaker in the neighborhood. Welcome, Ray and Richard.
Thank you, dear.
So good to have you on my program. Richard,
It's a
you've
pleasure
been here
to be here.
before.
Yes, I have.
And Ray, it's so good to welcome you for the first time to Freedom.
Thank you, Keela. What a pleasure.
All right. So let's just start with you, Ray, and let's talk about I want to put this case in a context. I want to talk about the period of the 60s and 70s when the FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover unleashed all of the law enforcement agencies across this nation by labeling the Black Panther Party as the greatest threat to the internal security of the United States. Let's talk about the Counterintelligence Program.
Yeah, it's in short, it's called Cointelpro. I think that Cointelpro was conceived much earlier and was directed at Marcus Garvey and then at the Communist Party movement. And as Hoover became more sophisticated in his methods, time passed on, and now there was a left in the United States, a Black Panther Party, and a very vocal left. Vietnam War was going on. There were threats from all kinds of areas. There was a lot of tension. Mr. Hoover, in his wisdom, decided that the Black Panther Party was the greatest threat to the internal security of the United States. The Black Panther Party was feeding breakfast to children, and that's pretty dangerous because some of those children have approached us since we've been involved in this case and talked about the Breakfast for Children program and the breakfast that they ate.
Wow.
So that was the real threat.
Right.
But I think that he conceived that the organizing potential of the Black Panther Party was too much for him to see down the road. And he began a covert and overt program to do what he could to destroy the Black Panther Party from without and from within. He used different methods to divide people in the party with letters and phone calls
I remember some
between husbands and wives and fathers and children. And also all of the police departments around the country where there were Black Panther chapters were put on alert to start to harass these people and keep track of their, comings and goings, to try to break them financially, and just in general to destroy the Black Panther Party. There were also other progressive organizations that were involved, but not to the extent that, or the pressure that he applied on the Black Panther Party